The Moabites, descendants of Moab, the son of Lot, formed a community that had kinship ties with the Israelites. In some phases of history, they maintained a harmonious relationship with the Israelites, but on other occasions, they emerged as implacable adversaries of this people. This video aims to present the history of the Moabites and clarify the significant events of this ancient people. Moab, the ancestor of the Moabites, was born from an incestuous act between Lot and his eldest daughter. Lot also fathered Ben-Ami, the founder of the Ammonites, from a similar relationship with his other daughter. This pattern of immorality in Lot's lineage was later reflected in the sinful relations between the sons of Israel and the women of Moab, as described in the book of Numbers, chapter 25. As for the meaning of the name Moab, there are uncertainties, but some scholars suggest that it might mean "from my father," alluding to the circumstances of its origin. However, this interpretation is merely speculative, as there are no solid bases to confirm this theory. According to the biblical account in Genesis chapter 19, the term Moab ceases to refer to a specific individual and begins to designate both the region and the people of Moab, that is, the Moabites. If this video has piqued your interest, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so as not to miss any content, if you are not already subscribed. The land of Moab, located on a plateau east of the Dead Sea, rose about 1,000 meters above sea level. This region was extremely conducive to agriculture, with Moab excelling in the production of grains, cereals, and grapes. In addition, sheep farming was a significant part of its economy. The territorial extent of Moab varied according to the political and historical changes of its people. Generally, its southern border touched the Zered Valley, while the northern border extended from the Arnon River to uncertain limits in different periods. The region of Moab was inhabited from ancient times. The descendants of Moab settled in this area, merging with the local population through marriages. Over time, they became the dominant group, and the name Moab came to designate both the population and the territory. Moab evolved into a well-organized kingdom, with a robust economy and large constructions. Small fortresses strategically located protected its borders. The Bible mentions several Moabite towns and cities, evidencing the structuring of the kingdom. The Moabites experienced a period of prosperity, expanding across the plateau and conquering other peoples, extending their territory to the north. They also maintained a close association with the Ammonites, their closest relatives. During the exodus of the Israelites from Egypt, the Moabites were already recognized as a powerful people, as described in Exodus chapter 15, verse 15. The Moabite religion resembled Canaanite paganism, with practices of impure rituals and cults dedicated to nature and fertility. They were devotees of Astarte, the goddess of fertility. These rituals and religious beliefs played a central role in Moabite culture and identity. The Moabite places of worship included altars and sanctuaries, many of which were located in high places, such as hills and mountains. These sacred sites were centers for religious practice and communal worship. Archaeological excavations at sites associated with the Moabites revealed the existence of such structures, offering valuable insights into their religious practices. In the book of Isaiah, chapters 15 and 16, we find a series of oracles against Moab. Isaiah describes a scene of devastation and desolation that would fall upon the Moabite cities, such as Moab, Kir-Hareseth, and Dibon. The images used by Isaiah are vivid and emotional, portraying the lamentation and suffering of the Moabite people. He speaks of streets filled with outcry, temples and altars flooded with tears, and terrified warriors. Isaiah also mentions the flight of the Moabites, their humiliation, and the loss of their sovereignty. Jeremiah, in chapter 48 of his book, expands Isaiah's vision of the ruin of Moab. He prophesies the destruction of specific cities, such as Nebo, Kiriathaim, Heshbon, and Elealeh. Jeremiah talks about the arrogance of Moab, their overconfidence in their own works and gods, and how this would lead to their downfall. He describes God's vengeance on Moab for their idolatry and pride, and how the people would be scattered. Among the deities worshipped by the Moabites, Chemosh, the god of war, stood out as the main national deity. the Moabites offered sacrifices of sheep and cattle to Chemosh, and they also practiced human sacrifices as offerings to this god. The relationship between the Israelites and the Moabites is recorded in various biblical passages, which recount both periods of friendly coexistence and economic and cultural exchange, as well as moments of conflict and enmity. On one occasion, Moses was prevented by the Lord from attacking the Moabites, but both they and the Ammonites were reproved by God for rising against Israel. The Moabites were not hospitable to the Israelites during the exodus from Egypt. In addition, Balak, the Moabite king, hired the false prophet Balaam to curse the people of Israel. When the Israelites camped in the plains of Moab, before crossing the Jordan, they became involved immorally with the Moabite and Midianite women, participating in their idolatry. For this reason, it was ordered that they be excluded from the congregation of Israel. The Bible mentions that Moses was buried in an unknown place in the land of Moab. After the death of Joshua, in the period of the judges of Israel, the Moabites oppressed the Israelites for 18 years under the rule of King Eglon, until God raised a left-handed man, Ehud, to free his people. During the period of the judges, Elimelech and Naomi migrated with their family to Moab. There, their sons married Moabite women, Orpah and Ruth. After the death of Elimelech and his sons, Naomi and the Moabite Ruth departed for Bethlehem. By faith, Ruth, the Moabite, was integrated into the tribe of Judah, as she ended up marrying Boaz, becoming an ancestor of King David and, consequently, of the Lord Jesus Christ. During the period of the monarchy in Israel, King Saul waged wars against the Moabites, achieving significant victories in his military campaigns. At a later time, when David was forced to live as a fugitive, he sent his parents to Moab, seeking protection for them. Later, David, as king, also subjugated the Moabites, imposing his dominion over them. After the death of Solomon and the division of the kingdom of Israel, the Moabites seized the opportunity to gain their independence. However, during the reign of Omri, father of Ahab, Moab was again subjugated by Israel. After the death of Ahab, the Moabites revolted once again, managing to free themselves from Israeli rule. In a later episode, King Joram of Israel, King Jehoshaphat of Judah, and the king of Edom formed an alliance to attack Moab. However, a shocking act by the Moabite king, who sacrificed his own son, resulted in the abortion of that military offensive. Later, the Moabites, Ammonites, and Edomites formed a confederation to attack Judah. But internal confusion led to the self-destruction of these peoples, frustrating their plans of attack. The kingdom of Israel also suffered frequent attacks from Moabite raiders, especially during the last days of the prophet Elisha. In the 8th century BC, the Moabites were subjugated by the Assyrians, becoming part of and paying tribute to the Assyrian Empire. After the fall of Assyria, the Moabites appear in the biblical narrative as part of the army that invaded Judah during the reign of Jehoiakim. They also participated in a conspiracy against Babylon, leading King Nebuchadnezzar to rise against them, dominating them again. Even after the fall of the Babylonian Empire, the Moabites remained subordinate to the Persians. In the post-exilic period, the Moabites are still mentioned in historical sources, but gradually they mixed and were completely assimilated by Arab groups. The complete destruction of Moab and everything that happened against this people was prophesied by the prophets of the Lord. If you are interested in the history of the Moabites, subscribe to the channel and leave your comment.